Welcome to the Shuman Show.
Oh, man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on the Shuman Show.
That's right.
Love the title. Love the title.
Thank you, brother. I know we were talking about doing this for a while. So
Yes.
Who am I here with? Tell the audience a little bit about Darnell and, the journey.
Some might say the sexiest man alive.
Yes. I agree with that.
Who is Darnell Davis? Darnell Davis, I'm a coach. I'm a real life example of what healing looks like in real time. I love to use my growth, my pain, my story to help people build strength, to help people heal, to help people get past the pain, help people find the power in the pain, I should say. I've been in fitness. I've been fitness coaching for about 15 years. And then I just recently released my book, which I've been using this story to help so many people for a long time. And now I just released the book. So now it's opening up so many opportunities to be a podcast host, to be a guest of podcast, to do speaking engagements, to really get the message out there.
It's incredible. And your book is so powerful. I knew you in person. We developed a friendship and a relationship, and you're such a positive light in the world, and you got such special energy. And when I read your book, I was honestly fucking shocked.
Wow.
I was shocked. I could not believe the story and what you had gone through. And I think it's so beautiful that you even had the courage and vulnerability to share that with the world. But it's impressive, man. It really inspired me in a lot of ways.
That was ultimately the goal. The goal was for people to see my story and be inspired, to know that they can come out of any dark spots that they're in, any tough phases that they're in life. If I can make it through what I made it through. And I got to a point where I stopped asking why everything happened to me. And I start realizing that I had to do something with it. So that's what the book is about. That's why the cover of the book is a mirror. So you can see yourself, you can see your story and my story.
And that's one of the hardest things. Like, how do you get over that, right? How do you flip that perspective, that narrative when something so traumatic like that happens, right? It's hard. I've never dealt with anything like that in my life, but how do you switch that perspective?
Well, I guess should we tell them what the story
is?
Should we give it to him from the beginning? So I guess not the beginning, but when I was 10 years old, my father killed my mother, as you know. And when I was 13 years old, I was the key witness in that murder trial that sent him to prison for the rest of his life. What happened after that was when I really started to understand why I was given this life. My grandparents put us in therapy. I'm the oldest of three. I got a younger brother and a younger sister. And my grandparents put us in therapy immediately because they wanted us to talk the pain out. And I got really good at talking about the pain, but not dealing with the pain. Got so good at talking about the pain that actually my counselors in elementary school and in junior high school, they would ask me to talk to other kids who were having issues and problems.
Wow.
And I realized at that point that this is what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to help people from the pain that I've went through.
Use that pain for good.
Exactly. So I always knew that it was a responsibility. The responsibility was on me early on,
And you found that out at a young age. That was, wow, yeah.
And so it was I grew up with this responsibility. Responsibility to make sure my younger brother and sister were okay, responsibility to be the Iceman, after my father went on one of his rages and beat my mom, my responsibility to testify and send him to prison for the rest of his life. Like, there's a 3-year gap in between the time when he murdered my mother and the time where I testified because the post-traumatic stress, me not being able to give the detectives and the prosecutors everything that they needed to prosecute him. My father was free for 3 years. And even when I started to put some of the pieces together and started to remember some of the things, that was one of the biggest fears of my life, to testify against my father. But then came that responsibility again, like, you have to do this, you have to do this. So I guess to answer your question, how did I get to that point of I had to. I see so much pain in the world right now. Like I got to do whatever I can do to help as many people as I can help.
Yeah.
And if I got to use my story and use my pain to do it, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, and at such a young age to have that situation come about, right? I mean, it's not like you were an adult when this happened. You were a child.
Yeah.
And I guess someone who is dealing with a really challenging, traumatic situation like that, you can either go into the victim mindset, right? This is happening to me, or this is happening for me. And that's really challenging, right? It's challenging to switch that narrative.
Right.
And you were able to do that.
Yeah. Well, part of that was because grew up with the mentality that you can't feel sorry for yourself, you know, and that's part of a lot of times I talk about generational pain, generational trauma, like the pain and the trauma that we inherit. And a lot of times for me and for a lot of people I knew growing up, you don't have time to sit there and feel sorry for yourself. You got to keep living. And that survival mentality is what keeps people living with the pain. So many people don't get to heal. And I've seen it. I've seen people who don't get to heal. I've seen my own life where I wasn't healing for so long. And then when I got that opportunity to have this freedom of living who I truly am, and not from the fear of my parents and the fear of my grandparents and the fear of my great grandparents, but to truly like live out my purpose and who I truly am. It's like, oh man, I'm one of those type of people, like if I'm eating something really good, like you gotta taste this, you gotta taste this. And that's what healing is for me. You know, like you gotta taste this. You gotta see what it feels
Tastes
like.
good.
It tastes
so good.
But the thing is, it's a constant meal. It's a constant exercise. You're doing it every day.
So, and then you said the first part of the journey there was talking about it, right? Having counseling, therapy, starting to talk to other people about their problems. But you said that wasn't enough. You had to go deeper into it to start that healing process. What did that look like?
Sitting with it, learning how to hear my own inner voice again. You know, I feel like as a society, like it's so much noise. We got so much noise, whether that noise is from our friends, our family, society, opinions. This is where you should be. This is like, it's so much noise in there. And for me, it came a point in my life where I was completely isolated from all the noise. The solitude made me face myself. Again, that's why I made the cover of the book a mirror. So that's what it was for me. It was facing myself, facing the pain. You know, so many times we try to avoid pain, do everything we can to avoid the pain, but the strength is behind that pain. I didn't know this at the time. I just, and nor did I choose to be in solitude. But that's what it was for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Maybe tell the audience a little bit about the solitude and where you were, how you got there, and because I read your book, you know, I know.
Okay,
but yeah.
So I think we left off at me testifying against my father in prison. So I was 13 years old at the time. My grandmother was a Jehovah's Witness. My mother wasn't much of a religious person. We went to church every now and then. So we didn't have much religion. We celebrated birthdays. We celebrated Christmas. We, you know,
all the fun ones.
Life was pretty what we thought was normal. Be it my father was beating my mom on a daily basis. I thought that was normal as well. So when we moved in with my grandparents, my grandmother put us in the Kingdom Hall. And the Kingdom Hall, basically everything that I learned from the Bible said that if I live a Christ-like life, I can see my mother again in the resurrection. That was amazing for me because that's all I wanted. You know, my mom was my best friend. She was 15 when she had me. She was 25 years old when she died. So, and I mean, she was a very, very responsible and mature 25-year-old. We had a house. We had, you know, 3-bedroom house. My mom was, you know, she was about it. From everything you shared in the book, she just seems like an absolute beautiful soul and full of so much life. She is everything because she's still with me to this day. But yeah, so all I wanted to do was just be good, you know, just so I can see my mom again. And So I didn't get in any trouble. I didn't hang out in the streets or anything like that, mainly because I didn't have the time as well. Like I got home from school, I had to watch my brother and sister until my grandmom got home. And then when she got home, it was time to get ready for the Kingdom Hall. But when I was 18 years old, she let me stay out past midnight. And this was a treat. And so I'm at this New Year's Eve party, and she says, listen, my grandmom, her quote was, I'm gonna give you enough rope to hang yourself. And she said, you got to be in this house by 2 a.m. And if you're not in here by 2 a.m., it's the last time you're ever going to stay out past midnight again. Mind you, I'm 18. Yeah. So I'm at the party, and it's 2 o'clock, and I'm scared as heck. And a friend of mine, he had a car, and I said, yo, bro, can you give me a ride? And he's like, yeah, sure, give you a ride. And we get in the car, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And he's like, yeah, we just gonna smoke a little weed first. And I'm like, what the hell? Now I'm gonna smell like weed.
That's the last thing you want to hear.
That's the last thing I want to hear. So, and then he rolls it up, and he takes a hit. His buddy takes a hit, and they pass it to me. And he goes, no, you smoke weed, don't you? And I've always, because I wasn't like on the streets and hanging out, like I didn't want to be seen as like the non-cool kid. Yeah. I never really succumbed to peer pressure, but this was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, whatever's gonna get this car rolling, let's do it. So I hit the weed.
That was the first time you had hit a weed?
18 years old, first time I ever smoked weed.
I had you beat by a few years.
Yeah, most people did, but on everything in life. I was a late bloomer to everything. And so when I get home, I want to see, I snuck in the house. Grandmom didn't kill me. Actually, when I got in the house, I think it was like 2:30. And she's like, Darnell? And I'm like, damn, hoping she was asleep. And she's like, you had fun? And I was like, yeah. I run up in my room, and I can't wait to get in the mirror to see what it looks like to be high. Yeah. And when I looked in the mirror, you know, I saw how big my lips were. Everything was just weird. Yeah. And then I smelt my hand. And when I smelt my hand, I smelt the incense that my mom used to burn all the time. And that's when it hit me. Oh my God, Mom was smoking weed.
That was the smell?
That was it. In that incense, I didn't know I was smelling weed as well, but I'm like, that smells like that incense Mom was always burning, right? So at this point, I told myself it can't be bad if my mom did it as well. Yeah. Next thing you know, I go to school, and I went to a Jewish school from first grade, and one of my Jewish friends was like, yo, can you get me some? And I'm like, will you pay for it? He's like, of course. Next thing you know,
that's the businessman coming out.
it turned into a huge business because I was somebody that my friends could trust. And, you know, this was a life that they already knew about. So within a year, I was making $40,000 a week selling marijuana. So, of course, I eventually moved out of grandmom's house a couple months later. Yeah,
so $40K a week.
$40K a week.
At how old?
19 years old. 19, and never sold weed before. Never did anything.
As a 19-year-old, I want to keep getting into the story. As a 19-year-old, how do you deal with that? I can't imagine making that money right now. Right. Let alone as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, and this was 1995.
I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 96.
Wow. So yeah, $40,000 a week in 1995 was a lot of money.
A lot. That's a lot of money today, dude.
Yeah. It was a lot of money, and but everything just happened so fast. Yeah. And I don't know if I should get too far ahead of myself, but I felt like the entire journey I was led into. It was all supposed to happen. And the further we get along in the story, you'll understand why. But I believe the first guy that set me, so I was getting it from that same guy at first that, gave me the ride home. He was just giving me, we called them double up packs. And basically you would give $100 and you would give $200, you would get $200 worth of weed back. So that's how I initially started. And once my friends in school started liking it so much, I was like, oh man, I need more. Yep. So I said, you got product market fit, my brother. You're rolling. I need the supplier. I need the bigger man. I had to cut the middleman out. Yeah. And when he took me to his guy, his guy's like, yo, you look really familiar. You look really familiar. Kept saying it over and over again. And I just want to get in and out. You know, I'm nervous. I don't know what, you know, and he's like, I got it. You Reese's son. He knew my mom. And I'm like, again, my mom is only 15 years older than me. So even that, I felt like my mom, and it sounds extremely weird, but I felt like my mom was guiding me through the whole process. And I never forget when I got that package from him, after he realized who I was, I was like, I looked up in the sky and I was like, thanks, Mom. You know, like I felt like she took me to somebody that she trusts to make sure that I'm okay. I know it sounds crazy. People are like, yo, your deceased mother would never help you get into the drug game.
If that was a part of your plan, man.
I think it really was.
Yeah.
I think it really was. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into the game, and then it just got bigger and bigger. The next person came to me, just some big Jamaican guy on Stenton Avenue in Philadelphia, just ran out of the hair salon. He was getting a Jerry curl done. And he's like, Darnell, chased me down in the street. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, yeah, you're doing big things. And I'm like, yeah, at the time I'm selling maybe about a pound, you know, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, nah, not big things. But I don't tell him this. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing big things, man.
Of course.
And next thing you know, I get disconnect. And next thing you know, I mean, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger to a point where I'm bringing 100 pounds of weed on the airplane carry-on through suitcases. Like, and this is still within a year of me getting that first hit of marijuana, and me never doing this before a day in my life. So things moved really, really fast.
Yeah. And as that was moving fast, we'll get back to the solitary. So, you know, you ended up going to prison. Did you know that was coming? What was the build up towards that like?
Okay, so I knew I was going to prison at least a year before I actually got there. Because, so what happened was, basically I created a whole operation in Eastern Pennsylvania where I had all the colleges. I basically had the whole eastern coastline in Pennsylvania, all the colleges, UP, Bloomsburg, Westchester, a bunch of colleges. And I had 3 customers who had all of these colleges, you know, on lockdown.
Wow.
And so basically I became like a folk legend in these small towns. Like everybody knew that the weed was coming from this guy named Nell in Philly, this bald head dude named Nell in Philly. But nobody, I didn't know these kids. You know, I just knew my guys, and they were all my age, 19, 20 years old. So
you were the big boss. No one ever sees the big boss.
But I didn't look at myself as the big boss. It's just like me and you know, and I'm hooking you up with some weed that I just got from this guy that I know. Yeah. Like, it's all like a friendly circle for me. We just all happen to be making tens of thousands of dollars a week. So then this one kid gets caught with a 1/4 ounce. He tells on his guy, and it's a domino effect, and it turns into a 14-man indictment.
Wow.
And all these guys, you know, they all tell on each other. But when it got to me, it's not that I'm a tough guy or anything like that, but it's just not in my DNA to tell. If me and you get in trouble, I'm not going to say, yeah, Drew's with me. I'm going to take it. And so I've never been arrested before, never been in trouble with the law before. But the judge still gave me the maximum of the sentencing guidelines.
Wow.
And the maximum of the sentencing guidelines was 4 years. 4 years, 2 months to 8 years, 4 months. Out of those first 6 months, I spent 3 in solitary confinement, because out of those 14 informants, every prison that they put me in, one of those informants would be in the prison. So they got to put me in solitary confinement to protect that person who told on me until they can transfer me to another prison.
Wow. And what does solitary confinement look like in a prison?
Imagine like I would say a bigger bathroom, like a big size bathroom with no windows. Basically, you're staring at a wall outside of your cell, no daylight.
Are you able to go outside at all or not?
Yeah, they do let you go outside for 45 minutes a day, but I didn't want to, because you're going outside to a cage. You know, basically it's like kennels, you know, like they put you each individual in their own kennel. Because if you're in solitary confinement, basically you are the worst of the worst in prison. In my situation,
but you weren't in that for You
No,
weren't
I
in
was
it
in
for-
there strictly to
Yeah.
protect,
Yeah.
to make sure I wouldn't retaliate against these people who told on me,
Yeah.
which I am a danger at that point. You
Yeah.
know, I'm a danger to the rest of the population because there's a threat, you
Yeah.
know, that I could possibly do something to this guy. I had no intentions on doing anybody. I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put me in a hole. And then the last time, so this kept happening. Every prison I would go to, they would find out, oh my God, one of his informants is here. I don't know why they didn't do the proper due diligence and paperwork before I got there.
You think there'd be a system for that, right? Come
it's
on,
just-
guys.
I'm like, honestly, I would get
Jesus
so
Christ.
excited about getting to population just so I can start this new life of mine.
Yeah.
And but then I would just have that same problem. It only happened 3 times.
Yeah.
But the last prison that they put me in, at this point, I was kind of on edge. I'm not a tough guy, but I was annoyed by how the guards were treating me because they know basically what you're there for. And they knew that I had a strong mentality. They knew that I had a lot of money as well. And I think it was their intention to try to break me. So they just kept taunting me, kept messing with me, you know. They would take my day room away, you know, just because a tough part of my shirt wasn't tucked in. It's just constant picking on me. And I said to the guard, I said, what goes around comes back around again. And nothing made him more happier because that is a threat. So at this point,
I'm going to assume he didn't like that one.
he loved that I said it because he's like, wow, you gonna get it now.
Yeah.
And they took me to the hole, and this particular hole, it was called the Terror Dome because any and everybody who entered this solitary confinement, they got beat by the guards. So they put me in there, and about 6 big hillbilly dudes beat the living crap out of me while my handcuffs were on.
Fuck, man.
And that's when something that I didn't expect would ever happen happened. I'm in the hole. They throw me in the cell naked. I can't go to the bathroom. It's real bad. And they bring somebody in after me, maybe an hour or so. And this was the first time that I ever heard a grown man cry before in my life. The guy was getting beat and he's crying, I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. And the whole hole just erupts. It's like almost a riot. Everybody's like, let him go, you racist mother. Like, it's just crazy, man. Mayhem.
Jesus. Yeah.
I'm scared as hell. They just beat me up an hour ago. So I'm assuming that they're gonna open up every cell to stop all of this madness and beat everybody's ass one by one.
Yeah.
So my grandmom told me anytime you're scared, you just chant God's name. So I'm in my cell, curled up in a fetal position, chanting, Jehovah, 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 Jehovah. And then next thing I know, my mom says, I'm here, baby.
I just got the chills.
I did at that moment. She says, I've never left you. Be strong for Danielle and Danny. That's my brother and my sister.
Yeah.
And I need you to forgive.
Damn, that was the message.
That was the
I
message.
need you to forgive.
I need you to forgive.
How did you interpret that at the time?
I didn't. I wanted her to come back. Mom, and I asked, who do you want me to forgive? Who do you want me to forgive? Nothing. I don't hear anything else. The one thing I didn't mention, the day after my mother died, she came to me in a dream. And the dream was so real. And she said this as well. Because when it was time for her to leave, when she came to me in that dream, I said, Mom, don't go. And she says, I'm never going to leave you. I'm always going to be here for you. And I ran and told my grandmom about it. And my grandmom said, that wasn't your mom. Because her religion teaches that, you know, the dead are conscious of nothing.
Yeah.
But I know what I saw. I know what I felt. I know my mom was there. So just because I wanted to adhere to this religion as much as possible so I can see my mother again, I trusted my grandmom. And I said, okay, that wasn't my mom. So this was the first time that I saw my mom and heard my mom again since that day. And
She came to you in that moment.
and came to me in that
fear and yeah.
And she came to me when I needed her most.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had no idea what she meant. But immediately after she didn't respond again, I did what she told me. I forgave all 14 people who snitched on me. I forgave my girlfriend for cheating on me. I forgave somebody who stole $75,000 from me. I forgave anybody that I could think of to forgive. Fast forward 35 days later, I get out of the hole. And when I get out, I'm sick as a dog. It feels like something's inside my stomach kicking and punching me. And I beg to go to the infirmary. And when I go to the infirmary, it's a guy coming out as I'm coming in. And I recognize this dude immediately, but he has no idea who I am. So as we're getting closer and closer, I'm like, yes, this is really him. And he looks at me like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I said, it's me, your son. And then my father drops to his knees. This is the first time he's seen me, or we've seen each other, since I testified against him in court.
And how old are you? 13 years old.
So now I'm 22.
22.
Yeah. And
you hadn't seen him in 9 years.
Yes. So, of course, I look different from 13 to 22.
Yeah, you're a grown man at that point.
But he looks the same.
Yeah.
He was 26. Now he's, 30, 35 or something like this. I don't know. It was 9 years, 26, 35. There you go. I'm really good at math.
Yeah.
Give me a second. So yeah, I'm frozen because all my life I told people if I ever saw my father again, I'd kill him. He killed my mother. Secretly, I'm scared of my father.
Yeah.
I'm the one that sent him to prison for the rest of his life. So he drops to his knees. He's crying. He's praising the Lord. Oh my God, God, like this is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because out of 33 prisons in Pennsylvania, how do I end up in the same prison as my father?
I'm getting the chills again because I don't believe in coincidence, but that is just insane.
It's all divine intervention. So earlier when I was saying that I believe my mom guided me through that whole selling pot experience, I believe it was all for a reason.
Yeah.
I believe I was meant, like, because that's another thing. When I was arrested and I was given 4 years, I got a clean record.
Yeah.
I never did anything. And this is just marijuana. It's nothing else involved. There's no gun. And they didn't find any marijuana on me. Like, it's just 14 people who told on me. So I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And once I saw him, well, I still didn't put it all together. It's a lot more to the story. I saw my girlfriend, and I told my girlfriend about it, and she already knew that my mom came to visit me in the cell.
So he dropped, just going real quick back to the first interaction, he dropped to his knees. He hasn't seen his boy in 9 years. He is ecstatic to see you in that moment. What were you feeling in that moment? What was the interaction like?
The way I often describe it is I'm feeling every emotion that a human being can feel at one time. All the anger is there. All the rage is there. All the hate is there. And then there was this one feeling that I never thought I would ever feel, and it was love.
And you felt that in that moment.
I'm in prison.
Yeah.
I'm scared as hell. And this is the man who I look like. This is the man at times I wanted to be like.
Yeah.
He still was my hero. Behind all of that nasty, evil, anger, rage, he was still my hero. He was my dad.
Yeah, it's your dad. Yeah.
So the guards have no idea what's going on. And the guards, after about, I'm explaining this feeling in this moment as if it was like minutes. It was seconds.
Yeah.
It was
probably felt like minutes.
It felt like hours.
Yeah.
The guards came over, they separated us, they picked him up off his knees, and then they sent me on my way into the infirmary. And when I got into the infirmary, the nurse said, "What's wrong with you?" Nothing. Nothing was wrong with me. Before I came there, it felt like something was inside my stomach kicking me. And I'm standing in front of this lady, so of course she just thinks, "Oh, you just wanted to get out of your cell."
Yeah.
She takes my pass, sends me back to my cell.
Little does she know what just happened.
Yeah. Nobody knows. And even the guards, they had no idea what just happened.
Yeah.
Are you cold?
I feel good, man. I'm getting the chills just from how crazy the story is and how beautiful it is, and also the other side of it as well.
Yeah. It was It was crazy.
I don't know if beautiful is the right way to describe it. I don't know the way to describe it. So
it gets beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, it's still foggy. It's still confusing. It's still unreal. Like, I would never think in a million years that I would ever see this man again. I mean, this is the star of my nightmares.
Yeah.
And he's crying at my feet telling me how much he loves me. I mean, I thought he hated me as well because, like I said, I gave the testimony that sent him to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I get back to my cell. I'm talking to my girlfriend. She comes to see me a couple days later. And I'm telling her everything that happened. And she remembered me telling her about my mom. And she reminded me at that point, she goes, babe, when your mom said forgive, that's who she was talking about. And I'm like, you know, like I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But it does make so much sense.
Yeah.
So
maybe there was a little part of you that was like, maybe she was right. Maybe that's
definitely it was a part of me, but more than that, it was a part of me that I wanted to know everything. I didn't see my father kill my mother. I just had the circumstantial evidence that sent him to prison. I wanted to know everything that happened. I wanted to know what happened after he walked me to school that day, walked me to the school bus. I wanted to know what happened after he murdered my mom. I wanted to know what his life had been like up until this point. Was he really sorry? Like I needed answers to all of those questions because I felt like if I had those answers, then I would have the closure that I need, that I wouldn't feel as sad as I do. So he was doing everything in his power to see me again.
Yeah.
He was sending messages through other inmates, you know, sending me notes. We call them kites in prison. So he was sending me kites. He was trying to communicate with me every way he could. And I was shutting it down until she told me that. And then I was opened up to it. But still, I didn't expect how he did it. He had the chaplain call me down to the church. And when I got there, I'm thinking, okay, this is great. Another message from mom. Mom is, you know, sending me God's messenger to help me through this process. And when I got into the church, there was nobody there but my father. And I wasn't ready at that point to talk to him. And then we saw each other again, and he started trying to reminisce. And, oh man, when you were a kid, you used to do this, you used to do that. And I'm just like, dude, I don't want to hear none of that. Like, if you want to talk to me, I need to know everything. I need to know how you did it, why you did it, everything. And he made sure I could handle it before he started. And when he did eventually tell me, he told me everything.
Wow.
And he had a face full of tears as he was talking. I had a face full of tears. And when he finished, I just got up and walked away. And he called out, he says, "Now, I love you." And I didn't think before I responded. I just was like, I love you too. And that's when he became my father again. Yeah. We spent every day together for 2 months. He answered so many questions. He gave me so much closure. He gave me, you know, growing up with my grandparents, they loved us so much. Yeah. But you kind of always know, like, this isn't my family. Like, you know, my mom is a beautiful woman, and my grandparents, you know, my mom looks like them. Yeah. I look like my dad. Yeah. So growing up, you know, you didn't have that sense of identity. You didn't have that sense of, this is who I am. You know, my name was Darnell Williams for so long. And then my grandparents adopted me. It became Darnell Davis, but I still didn't look like a Davis, you know? So then I'm sitting with this man who loves me, and this is my father. So it gave me so much that I didn't have growing up. And I realized that I wasn't supposed to have this union and connection with him for long, just enough to start the healing process. And that's what it was. Yeah. Because 2 months after we saw each other, they woke me up 4 o'clock in the morning, transferred me to a different prison. I never saw him again.
Wow. Have you seen him to this day or no?
After I got out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to take my brother and my sister there to experience the same thing, to give them an opportunity to heal as well. Yeah.
I can't imagine what that's like, man, but you know, it's beautiful that you were able to forgive him, and it sounds like that's really what your mom wanted, right? That was the divine message from her.
Yeah, I believe definitely that's what she wanted. And it was, you know, it seems like that would be the end of the story. It was just the beginning. Because then after that, it was so many, like I said, generational curses and generational emotional pain that I had to break after that. But everything came in phases.
Yeah. And I guess what did that continued process look like of healing? That was the start of the journey, right? Having that divine intervention to actually see your pops and have that closure and have all those conversations. What was the journey after that like?
Getting to know me, getting to know the real me, because that's what we initially started to talk about, the solitude.
Yeah.
When nobody else was around, I was able to start hearing my inner voice, learn what my inner voice sound like again, because I hadn't heard it since I was a child. So the first thing, what I learned in that time of solitude, I was in prison for 3 years and 7 months. And I got out, and I did so many things while I had all of that money. One of the things was I did concerts. I used to, you know, Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, Bismarck. Like I used to do these concerts in clubs. I never made any money, but my name would be on the radio stations all the time. It was so cool. And when I got out, these same executives who I would advertise with, they heard my story and they were like, dude, you're great at sales. So I was offered.
You can sell, brother. I agree. You can sell.
I went. I was offered a huge job for Clear Channel, #1 station, hip hop station in America. Moved to New York, then went into publications. So basically, what happened? I got to know myself. I got to know what forgiveness feels like. But then I got caught up in trying to chase success. And basically, the journey has been so long because I got out of prison when I was 26 years old. And this whole, it's hard to answer that question in one simple answer because it's a long journey.
Long journey. I have a good question to kind of follow up on that. So you transmuted that trauma into love and purpose. Were there practical tools that helped you do that? Are there still tools that you use to this day?
Absolutely. Tools that I use to this day. Again, looking at myself, looking at myself in the mirror, facing myself. Like I think another thing that led me to the bad decisions that I made was I never liked discipline. I never liked rules because I felt like that restricted me in some way. I felt like that was taking away my freedom. And I've learned that healing is actually just the opposite. It takes discipline to heal. It takes boundaries to heal. So I do all of this to honor myself. First thing in the morning when I wake up, I start my day off telling myself how happy I am to wake up to another day of life, how blessed I am to wake up to another day of life. I look at every single day. My life is one continued novel, and every day is a blank page. And what I constantly remind myself and what I remind other people is we're not who we were yesterday. Who we were shaped us, and now we can mold that to be whatever we want to be. So every single morning I wake up, I start off by telling myself how much I love myself. And then I hit my first victory of the day. And the first victory is always making up my bed. And it's your victories in your day, they can be so small, but when you keep stacking them up, so after I make up my bed, then I go ahead and run, I lower all my cortisols, I clear all of those bad, like I said, we all wake up with noise. And we can listen to that noise, we can start scrolling through social media, searching to see how many likes we got, how many comments we got, or we can give all of that to ourselves. So basically what I did was I started to redefine what success looks like for me. And one of the first things was success is doing the things that make my heart full, that really feed my soul. I go to the ocean every morning. I talk to my mom. I have a group chat with my inner child, with my mom, with God. And like by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm full. I realized that life is about rituals. It's about practices. It's about making healing an exercise every single day.
Yeah, it takes work. And it never stops, right?
Never
It's
stops.
a continuous journey.
Never stops. Never stops.
Are we ever
I told you that.
healed?
We don't
And what would you, maybe giving insight to someone who's out there listening, what would you tell someone who maybe has had a really traumatic experience or is suffering in pain? How do they get out of that victim mentality? How do they start that healing process?
Me growing up I was born in 75, and I look at the tools that we had to heal back then compared to what we have now. You know, I think all we had back then was therapy. And for a lot of people in my community, that wasn't even an option. But we have so many tools. We have affirmations. Like everything that you tell yourself, it's like you're planting seeds. And like you said, the people that might be in a dark place, I always use that seed reference because that seed is in the darkest parts of the soil. And once it's planted, you know, nobody can see it growing. And that's the beautiful thing. Like the growth is personal. It's for you and for you only. And it happens in that darkness. It happens with you facing. Let's wait for that to stop. So I like to use the seed reference because healing happens in your darkest times. And it's a personal thing. Nobody sees it, you know, and in that darkness, in that tight situation is when we become our best. I forgot what the question was. Maybe we should
How would you tell someone who's
yeah,
had a really traumatic experience or is really in pain and suffering, right? How do they get out of that victim mindset to start to see it as this is happening for me? Because I think yours is one of the most extreme examples of that.
Right.
You know, I can't think of something that could top that. And maybe there is, we don't have to go there, but it's such a traumatic experience that you did transmute into love and purpose and a mission and helping others, right? Through that experience.
Yeah.
But you could have not.
Yeah.
You could have let that kind of change your life in a negative way.
And I think everything that's happening in my life, from me becoming a fitness instructor to what I'm doing right now, I think it's all overlapping in some way. The one thing that I try to get people to understand is the strength in pain. That pain is the medicine. That a life with no struggle doesn't really give you much opportunity to build that strength that you need. So when you start looking at the pain as a gift, an opportunity for me to be stronger than I could ever have imagined, then you changing it. It becomes a fun experience, like similar to the gym. You know, it's not easy, you know, to exercise, to tear muscle, to build new muscle, but it's the same thing when it comes to emotional pain.
Yeah.
We have to tear what was formerly us, so the new us can come out of it. And like I said, it's not an easy journey, but what comes out on the other side is beautiful. It's the real you. So many times people like to, like I said earlier, people like to avoid the pain. When you see the pain as a gift, when you see the things that you are growing from to become who you were meant to be, you embrace those processes. So that's why I try to use the way I wrote the book. I try to help people understand the beauty, the superpowers that they naturally have. So when these obstacles, when these hard times come, you're prepared for them. You understand the chakras. You know, the reason why I wrote the book with 7 chakras, the reason why the book is called The 7 Wonders of Me, you know. because I want people to see you are all powerful. We are made in God's image. So there's nothing that we can't overcome. And that everything that you face, everything that you must overcome, it's just gonna make you stronger. Stronger than you could ever imagine.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Absolutely.
God wouldn't put it on our path if we weren't capable of handling it.
Preach, brother. Preach, brother.
all those verbiages, it's like they sound a little cheesy sometimes, but there's so much truth and wisdom in them.
The thing is, we try to make life so difficult. It's really simple. It's really simple. What's put on our plate, we eat it up. And that, like, we build strength from what we consume. You know, what we feed ourselves, what we feed our souls, what we feed our minds.
Agreed. Do you believe everything happens for a reason?
I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe we are all guided. I believe our purpose was always here. And we find it when we find what lights our soul up. So yeah, I believe my entire life has been guided. I believe the first moment I saw you and I was like, I like this dude, you know? I believe that was all guided, that we were put in each other's path at that time.
Yeah.
I think we just, like I said, there's so many messages out there. There's so many guides out there. We just got to be able to listen.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And how do you look back on the experience now?
How do I look back on the experience now? Like I said, it's still happening.
Yeah.
You know, I moved to London on Tuesday. I've lived all over the world. You know, my story, it didn't end, or it didn't end with my book.
Yeah.
It didn't end with what happened with my mother. Like, I'm rewriting my story every single day. Again, I said, we wake up to a blank page every single morning. And it's up to us to take that pen and write whatever we want that story to be. So I look back at half of the things that have happened in my life, the countries that I've lived in, the experiences that I have, I tend to forget sometimes. Friends remind me, like, yo, you remember that time we were in Morocco and you did that? And I'm like, wow.
You know what I think, Darnell? I think you need to write another book.
Oh yeah.
Because that book ended when you were 26.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lived a whole nother lifetime.
I wanted to include everything in the book. Actually, I started the book, the first manuscript in Bali. You know, I think the first sentence of the book was, I woke up crying somewhere over the Indian Ocean. But then when my first agents, they read it, they said, this is amazing, but it's way too much. You know, like, this is way too much for one book. So I realized I had to cut it off at 26. But you are absolutely right. I can't wait to finish. I already started the second book.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I can't wait to finish and release the second book.
Yeah. And going into the book real quick, what was the inspiration behind the chakras? I thought that was a really beautiful part of the book.
Right.
What was your journey like with chakras? Did you start to learn about them, or you're still learning about them? And
yeah, I'm always still learning. I'm a student of life, God, the blessings that we have. But what I learned with the chakras is those magical gifts that we have, these energy sources that we have within us. And like you said, my story, so many people might not see it as relatable to their trauma, their pain. But what I always tell people is pain is pain. The only time it has different degrees is when it's a burn, you know, but abandonment for you feels the same as it does for me. Loneliness for you feels the same as it does for me. Depression for you, same as it does for me. It's all in perspective. So what I wanted to happen from my book is I wanted people to be able to see not only their pain through my pain, I wanted them to see their superpowers through my superpowers. So we're all given these 7 energy points. And once we tap into them through breath, through meditation, we access them. It's telling us what we're missing. It's telling us parts of ourselves that still need to heal. It's telling us how we can heal. It's like we're identifying with our superpowers. So I wanted to illustrate that in a way where everybody can see it, where everybody can tap into it, where everybody can access it and really come out of anything that they're feeling, you know, through these energy centers. So that's what the chakras were all about. In addition, I wanted to break the story down into a digestible. So I broke it 7 parts, 7 chakras, and this is how you discover the superpowers of who you are, the 7 wonders of you, you know?
Yeah.
Ultimately, like, it was one way. I could easily tell the story in an entertaining way. I can easily tell it in an emotional way that, but I wanted to tell it in a way that you felt empowered after you finished reading it. Like, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. And of course you can, because I gave you the blueprint with the chakras.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. I felt that. That was my biggest takeaway from the book. It was like you were able to go through that experience and really transmute that into purpose and love, as we've spoken about. And if you can get through that, fuck, man, I could get through anything.
Exactly. And again, I just felt like this is my purpose. This is my purpose. Like I said earlier, like you get from a point of why is this happening to me to what am I supposed to do with this? And this was the first thing that I was supposed to do with it. I was supposed to write that book. The next is the next book. The next is the speaking engagements. The next is, being on as many. I want to share that healing is possible.
Yeah, because some people don't believe it's possible, right? And if you don't believe it, it's never gonna happen.
I was talking to a friend a couple months ago, and she was going through a really tough time. She was talking about ending it. And what I said to her is, to do that is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Every day is a new opportunity to live a completely different life. And so many times, like you said, we don't feel like we can get out of this moment that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm a living proof of.
Yeah.
We can get out of it.
You can get out of it.
We can get out of it.
See the light.
And we can get back in it again and then get out of it again. Life is a beautiful adventure.
Yeah,
it's a crazy roller coaster.
It is. But I'm so blessed for it, man.
Yeah, man. Me
I'm
too.
so blessed for it.
Look, Mom, no hands.
Yeah, let's go. So I always wrap up the podcast with a final question. What would you tell the younger version of yourself right now in this moment?
Go hard. It's so many times I saw my younger self live in this box of fear. And I think I just would tell my younger self, there's nothing to fear. There is absolutely nothing to fear. You are here for a reason. I would remind him of his light. I've always chased approval from family, friends, chased love. I spent so much of my life chasing. And what I would tell my younger self more than anything is stop chasing and see your own light, see your own uniqueness. And the more you embrace that uniqueness, the more alignment you feel in life and the more you attract the things. Because when we're chasing things, it's coming from a place of, I don't already have this. We're chasing
scarcity.
Exactly.
Which pushes away, repels.
Exactly. So I would basically tell my younger self to recognize all of these things that you think you want, they're already within you. And then once you know that, you magnetize, you attract it more in your life.
That's what manifestation is, right?
That's what it is, baby.
Just brought me to my one more question. Just talking about
it.
fear. I think it's so common. I deal with it all the time. Like, the mind loves to play that game. It loves to go into the fear. And over and over again, we have scenarios in life where we're worrying or fearful of something, and we all just created it in our head. It didn't come true.
That's the thing.
But we went through this whole story, and it changed our physiology. How do we not get into that fear? Do you deal with fear? How?
Absolutely. It's the same way I deal with pain. I face it. I face it when
What does facing it look like for you?
Saying it out loud. That's the first thing. I just start journaling again. I tell people all the time, journal is very important. So I believe when you put things on paper, it gets it out, because that fear lives up here. It's not real. It's all imagined. You know, we're thinking worst case scenario. What's the worst that can happen to me? You know, or she's gonna say no, or they're not gonna answer this email. It's all stuff that we create up here.
Yeah.
So once we write it down on paper, we've we've transmuted it from here to here. Now we can look at it and we can ask ourselves, is this true? No, so that's what I mean when I say facing it. You know, really looking at it for what it is. It's some imagined thought, and now that you've looked at it, you can really visualize, no, this isn't true at all. And you can just walk through, because on the other side of that fear is freedom.
It's freedom. And
that fear keeps us locked up.
I know.
You know, we don't want to move. We're in that stage fright, and it's like, I can't go anywhere. But once you take it from here, put it on paper, or just say it out loud, now we can walk past it. And we can realize it wasn't real after all.
And it's never real. But I guess that's the forever work, because I've seen it so many times in my life, and I still go back to it. But that's the work to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, put it on paper, say it out loud. Like I said, the most important thing is getting it out of your head, because that's where it's created, and that's where it will remain, and it will keep you stuck. But like I said, on the other side of that fear is freedom,
baby.
Freedom.
And what do we want? Freedom.
Yeah.
Well, I love you, brother. I'm so proud of you, and I don't think I've ever told you. I'm fucking sorry, but I'm really proud of the human you are, and you spread a lot of love and light into the world, man. So thanks for everything.
Doing what I'm supposed to do, bro.
Yeah.
And I love you as well. Come on, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
And it's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I feel like I want to say so much more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that I had this opportunity to share the story with you.
We'll have to have you back, man.
That's what I'm talking
Round
about.
two.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it, baby.
Yeah, fuck yeah.